Hello, I'm Mark Morse. Thanks for clicking. Today I'm going to be talking about the album Shadows in the Night by Bob Dylan. When this album came out in 2015, and I heard it was Bob Dylan covering Frank Sinatra songs, my first thought was, what's Bob up to? Is this a gag? Is this some type of joke? It absolutely is not. Um, why this came to mind recently is I was watching some videos from Garage Geek, and he mentioned a song off this record. And I remembered buying the CD when it first came out in 2015. And it got me thinking about it again, and I'm like decided that I wanted that record on vinyl. So this showed up the other day. Here's an interesting thing about this record right off the bat. It comes with the CD. Comes with the CD in there. I wish when I got the CD it came with the vinyl record. That would have been nice. But I didn't know that was going to be in there. So that was an extra surprise. So I got a couple copies of that now. I guess we can look at the record since I have it here. So there's the cover. It's a very retro kind of early 60s kind of design with the little bobbing bars up there. Then on the back is Dylan with a masked woman. It looks like they're looking at a Sun Records single of some type. There's the song list. The inner sleeve, nothing on the back. And the record itself, I just like the label. It's all very retro, reminiscent of, the Frank Sinatra records he made in the late 50s and early 60s. Anyway, I don't want to keep people in suspense. Do I like the record? Yes, I do like the record. And let me tell you why. I wanted to make this video yesterday. And I started, as I usually do when I want to talk about Bob Dylan or Bob Dylan records, I started getting expansive. It's really hard to focus in on exactly what I'm trying to say. And I kind of freaked myself out. I'm like, that's just going to sound like a rambling madman if I attack it like I originally planned on doing. Today I decided I'm going to do a spontaneous review. I didn't bring my notes or crutches. I'm just going to do it Vinyl Richie style, just get out there and talk about it. But I want to tell a little story first, and that is Frank Sinatra, my father, and me. So I have never gotten into Frank Sinatra. When I was growing up, he was my dad's favorite singer. He loved Frank Sinatra. He sang Frank Sinatra around the house. He considered himself kind of a crooner, I think. You would hear him sitting in his chair, just kind of mumbling the words to the songs. I just never got into Frank Sinatra. At the time, I was getting way into the Beatles. This was probably when I was, 12, 13. I would sit up in my room and I would listen to the Beatles, and I would say to myself, what is it about the Beatles that my father does not like? How can you not listen to this music and love it? I just could not understand it. And then I would hear him listening to those Frank Sinatra records, and I was like, how can he like that boring music and not like the Beatles? It was just a baffling thing to me. It's like, are we hearing different things? And I had the same thing with food. I was always like, how can one person love Brussels sprouts and then another person just think they're the most disgusting? Aren't they tasting the same thing? Why would one person? I was just confused by all that. But in the music world, I was like, I could understand why Dad didn't like Jimi Hendrix. I mean, there's abrasiveness there, but when I listened to the Beatles, it was so melodic and so beautiful. I'm like, surely he has to hear how beautiful this is. Well, I'm sure when he was playing those Sinatra records, he was thinking the same thing. He's like, if I play these enough, Mark's going to really get into Sinatra. Never happened. But what did happen was I tried to get into Sinatra. When I got older, I bought some CDs and I tried to do what happens naturally a lot of times. I get something and maybe I don't like it right off the bat, but I play it a couple times and I'm like, oh yeah, this is pretty good. And then sometimes they become favorite albums even. So I got those Sinatra things and I'm like, I'm going to see why people love Sinatra so much. And I would listen to him. I'd saturate myself with Sinatra. And, some of the songs I thought were kind of cute in a cheesy way, but I just never got to where I like Sinatra. So when this record came out, I was a little surprised because I love Bob Dylan. I love Bob Dylan. Bob Dylan covering Sinatra just seemed like the craziest thing in the world to me. So I got the album, not really expecting, or I guess at first I got the CD. I got the CD, and at first not really expecting to like it. I was just curious what's Bob up to. And then I was surprised that I really liked it. And what Bob has done, and I think it took me a while to figure out why I like this CD. Now, I'm not saying this is a great Dylan CD. In fact, if you want to listen to Dylan, you should probably listen to something else. This is not a typical Dylan. First of all, he's not doing his own songs, and the lyrics are, not the standard Dylan fare for sure. They're kind of sentimental, a little on the cheesy side. But what Dylan has done is he has stripped that orchestration down that Frank was so well known for. And though I never got into Frank Sinatra's voice, I love the vulnerability, especially of this older Dylan. As Dylan gets older, his voice becomes more vulnerable to me, and I just like it. But what he has done is he stripped these songs down to a point where I understand what Dylan sees in these songs. And I'm like, Dylan has said, I'm paraphrasing, he said something, when I heard Frank Sinatra sing these songs in the 60s, he said, I heard life, love, God, death, everything in these songs. And he said, I was just so busy, there was no way I could do anything with it, but I heard it then. And then now he's doing these songs, and you can hear what he heard. And what he has done is he has made, I may never like Sinatra, maybe never, but I like this because Dylan has broke it down to the point where I understand what Bob saw in Sinatra, which makes me understand a little better what my father saw in Sinatra or heard in Sinatra. That was a long-winded way of going about why I like this record, and I'm not going to follow that path any further, but I will say I like this album as a whole. It's really hard for me to point at one song, like, listen to this song, you're going to love it. What I love about this album is Dylan's sincerity in tackling these songs. He's really stripped them down. The main instrument I hear on here is a sliding guitar. I am sorry, I forgot who plays that sliding guitar. That's what I notice the most. And Dylan's voice, the lyrics. This is something I've always thought of listening to records as a solitary thing. And when I listen to this record, this is not something I want to be playing in my car stereo when I'm driving around on a sunny afternoon or something like that. This record is to be played in a dark room by yourself and it's to be played in its entirety. It's not like I'm going to listen to Why Try to Change Me Now, because this album is a mood. It is a real mood, and it's full of sentimentality. It's full of vulnerability. It's full of heartbreak, longing. It's really a beautiful record. Now, I am not going to say this is a great record and everybody's going to love it. This is not a record. In fact, I had not played this CD for years until Garage Geek mentioned it and it came to mind. So it's not something that I long for or crave very often, but it is perfect for sentimental evenings. That sounds cheesy as hell. It's perfect for when you're by yourself, maybe feeling a little nostalgic or sentimental. I played it the last 3 nights, lights off, just listening, my dog at my feet. It's perfect. It's perfect. It's perfect for that kind of stuff. Let me go over the songs because I'm sure people will want to know. But side 1 is I'm a Fool to Want You, The Night We Called It a Day, Stay With Me, Autumn Leaves. I really like that song. If I'm going to pick out songs I really like, Why Try to Change Me Now, another great version he does there. And then on side 2, Some Enchanted Evening, Full Moon and Empty Arms. 3, Where Are You? I do love that song. 4, What'll I Do? And 5, That Lucky Old Sun. So you probably recognize some of those songs, but they're not, like, for instance, My Way is not on here. So it would be silly for anybody to do My Way after Sid Vicious did his. But I just think it's a great song selection. Am I going to recommend this to everybody? No, I'm not. But if you're in the mood for solitude, melancholy, and sentimentality in its most sincere form, this is a great record. And I probably won't listen to it again for a while, but I am glad I have it. Before I end this video, I wanted to shout out three people. First, there's a couple threads I have going. One thread is the sleep disorder thread that kind of caught on. I at least got some traction. Darryl from Northern Vinyl guy, he did a response to that thread, and it's good. So I'll link to him down below. Go and check it out. More exciting to me, though, are 2 YouTubers who picked up on my Getting to Know Your Vinyl Addicts thread. This is the thread that I did 3 or 4 months ago that nobody did. And I've whined about it ever since. Garage Geek did a video out of concern because he thought I was hitting the booze. And then Morten also did a response. If you want to get to know your vinyl addicts a little better, I have a playlist called Getting to Know Your Vinyl Addicts thread. You can watch it, and then I'm going to link to Morten and Garage Geek down below for their responses. And watch them. They're funny. They're funny guys. Anyway, thanks for watching all this. I hope I wasn't too expansive. I don't know if I'm going to do this stream of consciousness kind of video again. But anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you again soon.